Yeah, absolutely.
What Brandon Jones is trying to do.
Yeah, we've seen that happen before. Alex Bowman, I believe, did that here in the ARCA Racing Series, if I'm not mistaken, 2-3 years ago.
That's the back gate that they're opening up, and the reason for that is we need to get an ambulance into the infield before the start of this one.
That's why they delayed the start a lap.
So that is now taken care of. 2. It's Brandon Jones that won the pole earlier. He will pace that field with Mason Mitchell on his outside. Brandon Jones has chose the inside line as they come out of turn number 4. Green flag in the air from Lucas Oil Raceway.
You see the 88, Justin Allison, jump out of line there before the start. Not supposed to do that. He jumped by Kenny Schrader. ARCA officials will look at that.
Was that a mistake to choose the inside line for Brandon Jones?
Well, I think Mason Mitchell got such a good jump from the outside. He actually was the first car to go after dropping the green flag.
And out in front of this field, it's Mason Mitchell. We mentioned momentum. He's the last one to find victory lane in the ARCA Racing Series, and he's the first one to lead a lap here at Lucas Oil Raceway tonight.
The ARCA racing officials looked at that start. The 4-car spun his tires, and the accordioning effect is what had the 88 jump out of line, so no penalty for anybody.
Justin Allison will be able to hold on to his spot. Right now it's 5th. Mason Mitchell out in front of Brandon Jones. Tom Hessert up into the 3rd spot. Justin Boston is 4th. And again, Justin Allison in the 5th position.
That's Justin Allison, the 88 car on the outside, racing Austin Wayne Self, the 22. That is a battle for position. Right behind them, J.J. Haley and Kenny Schrader battling for position as well.
Top 4 have spread themselves out and separated themselves from the pack. He's running just behind the 88, Justin Allison, but as you mentioned, that 22 working over the inside. Austin Wayne Self trying to take that spot away.
So difficult to make that pass on the inside. Again, a little bit flatter right now where Austin Wayne Self is running. It's a little flatter than it is right up against the wall where the 88 of Justin Allison's running. Boston.
Could have been someone that they were following behind as they put a lap down. But right now, it's Mason Mitchell setting the pace here at Lucas Oil Raceway, and we are getting under our first caution, the 66 of J.J. Haley. Haley was running in the 7th spot. He gets turned around and has some damage to the rear of that car.
Yeah, J.J. was doing a great job. He spends his weeks at Charlotte running a legend car at the summer shootout, but he's made some pretty significant contact. Let's see what happens. It looks like he's by himself here as he goes down in turn number 3.
Oh, and wheel hop too.
Looks like he got on the brakes, maybe wheel hop just a little bit, and around come the back end into the outside wall.
Look forward from Austin Wayne Self's vantage point.
Fortunately, just a single car incident, but a tough break for J.J. Haley, doing such a great job.
All right, Phil, we're in our pit window. We come to pit road and we don't have to go back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we do that too. I think we want to come in now. Go ahead and at least put our first set of tires on, then we have the option of
2. Brandon Jones on the outside, Justin Boston on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
A lot better start that time for Brandon Jones. Justin Boston's going to try to keep pace on the inside. A lot of fresh tires behind him though. 3 wide.
Here comes Matt Tifft on the high line. He's going to try to get on the outside of that 25 of Justin Boston. And here comes Grant Enfinger throwing it in hard on the low end of this racetrack.
Look how flat it is down there. But remember, he has new tires. A couple of those guys have older tires.
3 wide as they came out of turn number 4. Grant Enfinger all the way down at the bottom of the racetrack. There's still 3 wide for 2nd place.
That's how to do it. Use those new tires when you can. That's when you have the most grip. You have to go down to the bottom of the racetrack.
3 wide again as they go through 3 and 4. Here comes Matt Tifft challenging for the lead as they come out of 4. Tifft is going to be your race leader.
What a great move by Matt Tifft. Another one of the cars with fresh tires that take over the lead.
Grant Enfinger trying to make that low line work, and he is going to take 2nd away now. Brandon Jones.
It was tight all through practice. It was tight before we made that pit stop on lap 55. They got the car turning better in the center. It was tight before. We're under yellow, guys.
Yeah, Bobby Gerhardt gets turned around, and it couldn't have come at a better time for guys like Brandon Jones and Justin Boston. Guys that didn't come to pit road earlier now can come to pit road. They're still on the lead lap and get fresh tires.
Yeah, they had fallen back to the 10th and the 11th spot now. Now they will have about 40 laps fresher tires than the rest of these guys up in the top 10 unless they decide to come in as well.
Yeah, that's the big question now. Strategy-wise, would a John West Townley or a Mason Mitchell make the hard left turn and come onto pit road for that last set of tires?
I don't think I would. See if we can take a view here at what happened. That's Bobby Gerhart right there in front of Justin Boston. Bobby does a nice job here keeping that car out of the outside wall.
Take a look at the right hand side of your screen here. That is Bobby Gerhart going around. And it looked like no contact. It was just got away, got loose from it. Unbelievable turn of events here in the Scott. Get geared up 200. Race leader Justin Boston wasn't involved in the reason for the caution. It was the 5 of Bobby Gerhart who got turned around coming out of turn number 2. But Justin Boston, under caution, came up and hit the 5, and that's the damage to race leader Justin Boston. Now he's on pit road to try to fix this.
The car sat there for a long time. Bobby Gerhart sat there for a long time, and we were just watching along. And Jim, he just ran into him.
This may be one of two changes. Billy Venturini, the crew chief, went into repair mode immediately, saying, this is what we need to do. Get the fenders away from the tires. Let's change the 4 tires, then worry about the body. The right front nose is getting yanked. You can see the damage on the left front. Very substantial here by the headlight area, all the way up to the top center of the wheel. They're worried about the fender rub here just now. They may come back in again, Wendy.
Brandon Jones, who was our race leader at the time after Justin Boston's accident, came down pit road, took 4 tires. He was loose in his entry of his race car. They made an air pressure adjustment. Keep in mind he had a set of stickers remaining here on pit road, and they did utilize those on this lap 159 pit stop.
Phil, I'm not sure I've ever seen something as crazy as what we just saw, and you're going to be able to see it now. Bobby Gerhart in the 5 is going to spin. That's going to bring out the caution, but Bobby Gerhart gets up against the wall. Wait for it.
And we skipped a little bit. There was a lot of time.
There was time
in between those 2 pieces of video there. See, everybody's slowing down. He locks up the brakes. He sees him. He committed to the high side, locks up the brakes, actually runs into the outside wall first.
The field is frozen when the caution comes out, which means Justin Boston didn't need to stay at speed going through turns 1 and 2. You see the fender's been pulled away.
Obviously didn't realize that the caution flag was out.
So Justin Boston will make his way back to pit road. Was able to get to victory lane in Winchester 2 races ago. Earlier in qualifying, he broke the track record and has been very impressive tonight. Back in the 2nd place, Austin Wayne Self, the 22, that 18-year-old out of Austin, Texas, has had a 2nd place finish at Winchester back in 2013, but is yet to find victory lane.
May find himself in the same situation that Mason Mitchell did for so long. Right now, a great car, has a couple-second lead over that 3rd place car right there, Frank Kimmel. Frank doing a nice job here. Really made that car better. We talk about the fact that he has a new crew chief over there. Mark Rett now is calling the shots for the 44 car, and they have a pretty good run going here.
Pretty impressive short track racing for Frank Kimmel. Back there in the 4th position, Grant Enfinger in the number 90. 4 wins already to start off the 2014 season, and as you mentioned, now in the driver's seat for the championship once again because of the problems.
Finally able to get by that 11 of Matt Tiff. They've been racing, it seems like, since the last restart. That's another 5 points for Grant Enfinger.
Clicking off. Still many laps, and we only have 8 to go now.
This is that battle right here for the 4th spot. A little bit of contact. Grant Enfinger's going to get in the back of Matt Tiff and use that little contact to get by him.
So that's the way Enfinger got up into the 4th spot. Matt Tiff back there in the 5th position. Tiff also another 18-year-old out of Hinckley, Ohio. His last run out was a 3rd place finish at Chicagoland. That's the 3rd time he has finished in the 3rd position. And we look back at Kenny Schrader running in the 7th position now.
Justin Boston, such a horrible break for Justin Boston. Had this race in hand, Bobby Gerhart spun. Now maybe with that caution coming out, maybe he wouldn't have won this race. He had the dominant car at the time, but such a tough break, had radio trouble, did not realize that Bobby Gerhart was sitting down there in the racetrack, drove in the corner like he normally would, as hard as he normally would, and all of a sudden there's Bobby Gerhart sitting in front of him.
And timing didn't work out also in the sense that he had just entered turn number 1 when the caution light, which is just outside of turn number 1, came on. And so it might not have been in his peripheral vision, so he was still going, as you mentioned earlier, very hard into turns 1 and 2, and he couldn't really lock up the brakes. He didn't also hear that the caution had come out, so an unfortunate incident for that 25 team.
Yeah, that's one thing that young man will never forget. He's going to realize that this one potentially got away from him. You know, not necessarily his fault. He had radio trouble, didn't really see what was going on, but a tough break nonetheless. But Justin Allison right now running up with another top 10 run in the 9th spot, doing a super job this year. Very, very consistent. You see both left side brake rotors glowing for that 88 car, but he's hanging in there right now in the 9th spot.
If he can hang on, this would be his 5th top 10 finish in 2014. And just behind him, it's Tommy Hesser in the 77. Another one of the cars that came onto pit road on lap 104, so had a little bit fresher tires, but wasn't really able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, well, he moved it up into the top 3, and the problem was that was he put his second set of tires on that caution flag right after halfway. So when the caution flag came out, when Bobby Gerhart and Justin Boston got together, Tom didn't have any tires left. So right now he's running, the 88, Justin Allison, we were just talking about him. 3 laps to go. He's made some pretty significant contact with the outside wall here.
One of the things, if he could keep up pace, which right now it doesn't look like he's going to, he's going to try to get to pit road. We have just over 2 laps to go. When we come out of turn 4, Brandon Jones is going to see the white flag. White flag in the air one more time around for Brandon Jones.
He doesn't need to take any chances with this traffic. Now he's opened up over a 4-second lead over the second place car, Boston Wayne Self.
What an impressive start to his ARCA Racing Series career as Brandon Jones works through 3 and 4. He's going to remain perfect. His last start, he went to victory lane. That was also his first. This is his second start. He'll win again in the ARCA Racing Series.
Look at this battle coming off the corner for second. Looks like Austin Wayne Self just narrowly stayed ahead of that 44 car, Frank Kimmel.
Kenny Schrader is going to come home in the 7th spot. Justin Boston will end up in the 8th position. The last driver to win his first 2 starts in the ARCA Racing Series.